Oh, you're lucky there.
Oh, that was a good cut. I'm glad you cut that scene there, because they're not very beautiful.
Well, I don't want anyone to think that you were actually exposing yourself in Canary Wharf.
No.
But because you weren't, were you?
No, I dropped my trousers because they kept telling us it's a private area, and a very private area. So I was like, if it's a private area, then I can get undressed.
Do you want to see my private area?
Exactly, yeah.
I think we should move swiftly on. So, you know, the guys there, this was at Canary Wharf. Canary Wharf is privately owned, isn't it, the whole area?
Yes.
And these were the private Canary Wharf security, who look a lot like regular Metropolitan Police, don't they?
Yeah.
City of London Police, perhaps. So how did they take to you?
Initially with a lot of fear. They were very concerned about what we were doing. All we were doing really is holding signs and expressing ideas with a megaphone, which last time I checked wasn't illegal, although sometimes the police disagree with that. I've been bugging Danny. I had been bugging Danny for a long time, saying we need to go and do Canary Wharf. Like, Canary Wharf is like the Gattaca-style, not too distant future, which is like a corporate glass and metal dream. And also, I've always had an issue, and I've got friends in the police force, not many.
Fewer now? Or?
Fewer now, maybe, yeah, but you know.
You seem to be making some friends.
But you've been hugging a lot of them.
Yeah, exactly. Some very attractive people wear a police uniform. But anyway, as I was saying, the police also share a concern that is on their blogs that the Canary Wharf security have the black and white checkerboard, which some people say is a Masonic symbol. And they have even the CW, which is City of Westminster Police, but it stands for Canary Wharf Security. So their uniforms are identical. And I love the bit when he pulls out his notepad demanding ID. And that's wonderful that the private guy in a private area starts demanding identification from someone else.
A private citizen.
Exactly.
So, OK, I'm going to get some text in here. Somebody, this is Dave, says, who pays you guys? How do you earn a living?
Well, a lot of people have raised concerns, and they just like to say that I'm funded by the CIA, and which is why I've never been seen on TV before, or I just appeared out of nowhere 4 months ago.
This is your debut, isn't it?
This is my debut, so I hope my
television.
CIA controllers don't mind that I'm outing myself, which is why I have a bit of an American accent. I trained at American Air School for a while.
You think this is a bluff, but it could
be a double bluff.
Double bluff, yeah, exactly, hidden in plain sight.
Or could it be a triple bluff?
But the truth is...
Or is it?
Have you got your own box cutter?
Yes, we do, yes. And we've got our own airliners as well.
Yeah. Yes, I rather suspected you had. OK, what about you, Olly the Octopus? Do you have a job?
No, well, I do. I do lots of things musically. I'm just a freelance musician. I ply my trade in many angles in the music industry. But I like to speak out and satirize with songs, and this is a project that I do. Yeah, obviously the Octopus selected to hide my true identity with a thin veil of secrecy.
Yes, but you also work with disadvantaged or disabled children in music therapy. And
yeah, I do that. I produce people's records. I have a record label, and run events and so on around London. So.
What sort of events? Or illegal raves?
Yeah, illegal squat parties and
cocaine smuggling, gun running.
Yeah, gun running.
No,
diamond smuggling, that kind of thing.
Diamond smuggling.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Pam in Bridgewater says, Theo, give them back the megaphone you've had on your desk for weeks. That's not yours. Yours was much bigger than
Ours
that.
was way better than that.
That son of megaphone, that one.
Yeah, this is...
It's not so mega, it's more like micro. No, it can't be, no, you know what I mean.
It's just phone.
Phone.
Yeah, not mega.
That's not mega.
But no, the megaphone is still at Belgravia Police Station. Inspector Timothy Cocaine, that's his actual surname, Inspector Cocaine, is looking into it, and they've obviously lost it, and we're going to have to...
Doesn't that mean they've got to buy you a new one?
Well, yes, they've had letters from America, postcards from America to the station saying, release the hostage, release the megaphone, and we've had absolute silence from the police.
There's an appeal on YouTube that they've got the address there. If you look it up, the Megaphone Wars, you can find the address and send a postcard to Timothy Cocaine.
That's Belgravia Police Station.
Yeah, he was actually a really nice guy. He was really, really fair.
He's a lovely chap. A lovely chap.
Because yes, I mean, I've got to say, you do a lot of hugging of police, don't you?
Yeah.
And we will show a clip later on in the second half of you doing just that. I mean, how do they take to this when you say to... And I've seen you in quite sort of reasonably confrontational situations when they're trying to shut you up. And you eventually say, what you need is some love, you know, let's have a hug.
Yeah.
And it's quite extraordinary. Quite often, you know, police outside the American Embassy or in Camden Lock, those sort of areas, will just kind of go, yeah, I need a hug. It's quite extraordinary, isn't it?
Absolutely. Everyone needs a hug from time to time, and especially if your job involves putting on a uniform that makes it look like you're about to invade Poland, you could do with a hug. And it's the best way to disarm a situation, because once you've held someone in your arms, it makes it a lot harder than to put handcuffs on them.
All you need is love, right?
All you need is love.
And food, water, shelter.
Sex.
Sex.
Yeah.
But you don't offer that.
Education.
You don't offer that to any of the police.
I know. I often offer the police to make love, not war, but I've not yet been taken up on the offer. But I'm quite sad about that because
we haven't been offering them food. Maybe we should do that.
Food. Yeah, but I like someone in uniform. To me, it's very kinky.
Yeah, well,
which is the only reason I hug the police.
Guys, we're going for a break now. If you'd like to text in your questions or comments for Charlie Veitch and Olly the Octopus, please do so now to 87778 with the word EDGE and then your text. See you very soon. Welcome back to On the Edge with me, Theo Chalmers, and my special guests, Charlie Veitch and Olly the Octopus. I'm going to read out some text before they scroll off the screen. Here's one from Brian in Bridgend. He said, Libyan refugee in Cardiff was sent to Belmarsh and Long Lartin and house arrest. His crime was having a map of London.
Yeah, we get that a lot when we're out filming. We're filming sometimes what people consider to be sensitive areas, which to me is just central London. Tourists are taking photographs all the time. But because Danny and I and Olly are trying to raise some important issues, the police always use the line that your footage will be used for terrorism purposes, which is why we can detain you, which is why we can go through your footage. And I had my footage watched in front of me at the American Embassy and also at the London Stock Exchange. And also at Finsbury Park, I was filming, and the police sergeant says, because I refused to stop filming, I said, I'm sorry, sir, I understand the law, I'm allowed to film, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, will you apologize to all the families who are killed, to the children and the families who are killed when your footage is used by an Islamic terrorist? And that's on my YouTube channel. He actually says that.
Well, Google Earth have got cameras on top of cars going down all the streets.
Maps.
Yes.
Yeah, but
Street View, yeah.
But the good news is, because Afghanistan and Iraq, and this is coming from Deke, because Afghanistan and Iraq are the only two countries where terrorism can be organized, they haven't yet got Google Earth in Afghanistan, so we're safe for now.
Fair enough, then. Paul from Warrington says, have you ever been overtly threatened? I suppose he means, to your face, because I know you had a death threat.
Well, you get the odd person in the street who panics a bit when we offer them a hug, and they swear and say expletives and call us rather rude things and threaten to punch us in the face. But luckily, Olly and I and Danny, we're big guys, and we haven't had any overt...
Yeah, we got threatened by the
tall,
Scientologists, actually.
You got threatened by the Scientologists?
When we did that, I think, and we got threatened several times.
You are very tall, aren't you? How tall are you both?
6'5" each, I think, almost.
I'm a little bit smaller, 6'4".
Yeah, he is a little bit smaller.
I'm an inch less the man than him, I think.
He is.
Yeah, in many ways.
OK, Matt in Western Supermare says, can you ask the guys if they can come to Clifton in Bristol and wake up some of the sleeping rich? Thanks.
I was in Bristol on Saturday, actually.
Did you wake up any of the sleeping rich?
No, I was in a hurry.
Well, Danny and I have been discussing doing a tour of the UK. Probably the next one we're going to do is Newcastle, because we've kind of made everything okay in central London. The police know better than to bother us now, because they end up as YouTube stars. And also our budget to pay these actors in police uniform is running out, so we do need to go on tour now.
You say that, but you have actually been arrested at least once a week, haven't you?
For the last month, I've had one arrest a week. And always released without charge. What my opinion is that the humans in the police uniform, they panic, they don't know how to deal with the situation, and the easiest thing for them to do is just to arrest you, because they know how that program runs. Then they have control of the situation.
OK, there's somebody who's asking something that's a bit off subject here, but I will briefly tackle it. John from Thirsk says, hi Theo, can you tell me why your channel has been taken over by tele-shopping? Has someone had a word in your ear? Well, no, not in my ear, but the best thing you can do is go to our forum, which is www.edgemediatv.com, and there's lots about it on there. So, it is hopefully just for a month, but we will see. OK, that's all I can say about it at the moment. So let's get back to you guys. OK, I think we've dealt with some of those. But you've been arrested. So what happens when you get arrested?
The police take me into the back of the van, sometimes with handcuffs, sometimes without. And they're always very curious and usually very friendly and start asking me why I do it. And you have to be careful, though, because everything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. So they always very friendly, and you connect to one or two of them, and they fast-track the process. I've never had any policeman keep me in a cell vindictively for hours on end. The longest I spent in the cell was 2 hours, and I had something to read, so it was quite nice, a meditative 2 hours.
What was that, the Police Gazette?
Yeah,
No, it was actually The Undiscovered Self by Carl Jung.
There you go. Did you discover yourself in the cell?
Yes, unfortunately, I discovered myself. It was very boring.
You're not allowed to do that in police cells, actually.
They have a camera in the top corner,
That's
like a
why you're
mirrored
not allowed
camera.